All right, so now we're going to look at the path module. And what I've done is I deleted the text files in the folder we created in the last video, and I just created this path.js file to work in. Now, the path module is a core module that allows us to work with file and directory paths. And it can be used to get the base name of a file, get the extension of a file, create absolute paths, and much more. Now, one big reason this is useful is because the path separator, among other things, can vary between operating systems. For example, on Windows, the path separator is a backslash, and on Linux and Mac, it's a /. And the path module can take care of that so that we don't have to check that and make sure that, we put the right one for Windows versus Linux and Mac. So let's first off bring the path module in. So we're going to set this to require the path module. And let's create a variable to hold a file path. And we don't have to actually create any files for this. It's just to deal with the actual path. So let's say my file path, and let's set that to just some subfolder / another folder / and then let's say index.js. And the first method we're going to look at is base name. So base name will do just that. If we have a path like this and we just need the base name of the file, then we would use this. So I'm going to say const, let's call this base1. I'm going to set it to path.basename, and then we're going to pass in my file path. And let's see what that gives us. So we'll say console log base1, and let's run the file. So node path, and we get index.js. So it'll only get the base name of the file and disregard the rest of the path. All right, now if you don't want to get the extension, so what we can do is we can say base2, and in addition to passing in the file path, if we pass in the extension, so .js, like that, and we console log base2, and we run our file, you'll see we only get index. So it actually removes the extension. So that's base name. The next one I want to look at is ext name, so extension name, and this will get the extension of a file. So if we say const ext equals, and we'll say path.ext name, and we'll pass in my file path. And I'm sure you're going to guess what this will give us. If we console log this, it gives us .js. Okay, so there's a lot of times when you have to get the extension of a file, and this will do it for you easily. So the next one is dir name, which will get the directory. Actually, I forgot my parentheses here. Little things like that bother me. I don't know if you guys are like that too. But the next one is going to be dir name, and that will get the directory of a file. So let's say const dir, and set that to path.dir name, and then pass in my file path and console log dir. Let's clear this up and run, and you see we get subfolder / another folder. So it basically does the opposite of base name. Base name gave us just the file name. Dir name gives us just the directory, or just the folder names. So join is the next one we're going to look at, which is extremely common. You're going to see this all the time. And it just creates file paths just like we did here, except it'll create them correctly on whatever operating system. Like on Windows, if it's a backslash, it'll use that. If it's on Linux or Mac, it'll use /. So it's just a cleaner way to create file paths. So what I'm going to do here is say const my path, and I'm going to set that to path.join. And let's say I want to create this same path, subfolder, another folder, index.js. And this will take in as many arguments as you need. So we'll say subfolder, and then the next one will be, oops, I want that quote on that side. The next one will be another folder, and then the name of the file, index.js. So if we console log my path, Okay, so you can see it gives us the same exact thing, right? Subfolder, another folder, index.js. So same as this. But it'll add the correct separator and so on. So if you're going to be creating file paths, then it's recommended that you use join. All right, you can also use resolve. That's going to be the next one we're going to look at. So resolve will create an absolute path, and again, it takes in any number of arguments and joins them together. So we actually use this in the same exact way. So I could actually copy this line and just change, let's say my path 2, and let's say resolve, and pass in the same stuff, and then console log my path 2. Okay, so we'll run that. Now, you can see this is from the join, this is from resolve. The difference here is resolve will give you the absolute path. So it gives you the entire thing, where join is going to give you basically like the relative to the folder you're in. But in a lot of times you can use them interchangeably. All right, now those are the methods. There's two variables that I want to show you, and that is _dir name and _ file name. So _ dir name, you're going to see this a lot. It's called an environment variable, and it tells you the absolute path of the directory containing the currently executing file, so the file that you're in. So whenever you're pointing to the file you're in, you should use dir name instead of /. All right, so we can just do a console log here of _ dir name, and then we'll run the file, and this is what it gives us. Okay, so it's basically the absolute path to the node core modules folder, because that's the folder that this file that I'm in is running from. And then file, let's do _ file name. So we'll console log that, see what that gives us. And that gives us basically the same thing, but in addition, it gives us the file name, which is path.js. So a lot of times you want to refer to the file you're in, you can use that. So that is the path module. In the next video, we're going to look at the OS module.